What's good, people? Welcome to a new video. We're making some Bitcoin today. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed, got your notifications on, and follow me on Instagram is on the screen. Let's get started. Alright, so once you got Blender opened up, let's just hop in. Obliterate everything. Let's pull this down. Now you got two ways you can make this coin basically. You can either use like a displacement map, a height map, or you can actually model it physically, So I'm gonna show you both ways. Obviously modding it yourself is going to take a lot longer to do every detail, but once you've done that, you can then use it to make a height map, which you won't have to do again basically. So let's get started. Let's go. How you all doing, by the way? Obviously I know you can't answer, but whatever. Make sure you guys subscribe also if you don't want to miss any videos. I'm dropping them weekly, so stay tuned. Anyways, let's start with the cylinder. Rotate that along the X 90 degrees. That should be like my signature saying, I said all the time. But anyways, let's add a loop cut right in the middle. And then let's delete these rear faces. And that one. Let's add a mirror modifier. So there. Along the Y or Z, one of them, whichever works. And then let's bring this face in. Make sure you got clipping turned on. And let's bring it in just until it resembles a coin. So you can choose whatever width you want. So I'm going to go a little bit narrower. Something like that looks pretty good. And let's press I to insert the face. That much. And then let's extrude it inwards. Just a tiny bit. Hold down shift as well if you want to get it more accurate. So you get something like this basically. So let's shade smooth. And then come down to the object properties. Normals. Auto smooth. And let's add a subdivision. You get something like this basically. Actually, let me just hide the subdivision for a sec. And then with the face selected, press Shift E and then drag out until you get this purple line showing up. Basically marking it sharp. And let's add a bevel real quick. So select this edge, Control B, scroll up once. Something like that. And let's do the same to this edge. Or you can select it and just press Shift R, which will repeat the last action that you did. In this case, a bevel. So now let's turn it back on. You can see it's a lot cleaner. And you got a flat face. So you basically got a coin. So now let's bring in the reference images and then we can start modeling. Link in the description, by the way, you can download this image. It's not the internet, I made it myself, so yeah. So let's just move it over and kind of place it in the right region. Move it down a bit. I'm just trying to center it up, kind of line it with the coin as best as I can. So something like that looks alright. Let's scale it down from 3D cursor just until it fits inside of it. You can make it perfect if you want. I just can't be bothered, so I'm gonna go with something like that. So if I got X-ray view, you can see it's pretty lined up. It's pretty good actually. So let me just select this on its own, /. So as you can see, there's a bunch of detail in here that needs to be made manually, unfortunately. So yeah, let's get started. I can't really say I'm looking forward to it, but it has to be done. So all I'm gonna do is basically just add in planes, curves, etc., and just extrude it all out, just to get the shape. So I'm gonna speed it up. You should kind of get the idea. So I'm trying to keep this short anyway. So let's go. For the B, we're going to use a circle, so Shift A and then circle, rotate it 9 degrees, and let's get it down. Turn off proportional editing, and just bring it in and just scale it up till it fits. So once you got the circle where you want it to be, all you got to do is extrude it until you get the shape you want. So then just carry on modeling as usual. Of course, this part will take quite a while, so that's why I sped it up. But it's pretty self-explanatory. Just, use the planes and extrude it. Alright, so for these rings here, I just use the circle basically. And I'm just going to turn this into a curve later on so that I can add a bevel to it, just to make it a bit more cylindrical, I guess. Alright, so after hours of work, you end up with something like this. As you can see, a lot of detail in there, which is what you want. Obviously, this is method 1, which takes a lot longer, but you will get more realistic renders, basically. And you can 3D print this because it has actual geometry on it. So you get something like this, basically. So now let me show you. I did parent like the front and the back details to like an empty. So as you can see, when I move this, it's like connected to it. Obviously, this will make my life a lot easier later on, rather than having to move everything individually. So anyways, with that being said, let's get started with the materials.
Shader editor, and then let's select the coin, come down here, and then let's add a material. And let's call it coin shiny.
See, this is the coin, and with the materials on, you get something like this. As you can see, of course, I added a little bit of like scratches here and there. I might add some like smudge later on, but anyways, you kind of get the idea. You get like this, which looks pretty cool. You can zoom in, see all the details. Looks pretty good. So this is method number 1, which takes a lot longer. So now let's move on to the second method, using a height map. Alright, so with the new Blender scene, let's delete everything as usual. So let's bring in the cylinder. Let's rotate it along the X 90 degrees. Something like that. Let's scale it up a little bit. You get something like this. So scale it in to the Y to get something like that. Something that resembles a coin, basically. You can choose the width. So let's select these two faces, the front and the back. And then let's press I to insert. Something like that. Looks pretty good. And we're going to extrude it inwards. So with the same faces selected, press Alt E. And then choose extrude along normals. This one here. And then let's just bring them inwards, not out. Just a little bit. So you get something like this, basically. So with the same faces selected, press Shift E just to mark sharp. And then let's do materials. So let's just bring in our height map. As you can see, this is the one we rendered out. And if you don't know how to make a height map, click the video on the top right there. So let's move this into the shader editor, press N, and let's add a new material. Let's just call it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And then let's zoom in here. Let's add in a image texture. And then let's go to like a bronze color, like a golden bronze, something like that. And let's bring this down here, and let's drag this down as well. And then let's go Shift A, let's bring in a displacement map, or displacement node. And then here we can open up the height map we made. Make sure it's a non-colored. And let's connect to the height of the displacement node. So let's bring the mid-level down to 0, and then let's go 0.2 for this one. And then let's just plug it into the displacement output. So that looks so good. Let's press Ctrl T on the image. Make sure you have Node Wrangler turned on as an add-on. So we're just gonna unwrap these two faces, basically. Let me just zoom in. You can kind of see it happening a little bit. You can see the detail kind of popping out there. Let's just drag over here to the renders and then just click that. See the details properly now. It's basically acting like a bot map, kind of. So let's turn up the metallic, because obviously you want it to be like a coin. So there you go, looks much better. So you just made a Bitcoin. But obviously we have to do the same for the back, make sure it's aligned. So again, select the faces, press U, and click project from view. And then just align it. So get the back aligned, it will look something like this, which looks pretty cool. So now we just have to do the same thing for the sides as well. So select the side faces and then unwrap them and then just align them at the bottom. So once you get everything aligned, you're basically done with the model. Obviously you can go in with the materials and add like smudges and a bit more detail. So let me know in the comments which way you prefer of doing it, whether it's the first method of actually making it using geometry or using a height map basically. So if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and here's the results. Before you guys leave, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos. Also leave a comment down below how you found this tutorial. Remember to click the link in the description where you can get a project file and the reference images. And I'll see you guys next week.
You got a few niggas, I got an army, you got a few